We're ready. Good morning. First thing, I'd like to welcome Mr. Tucker from the City Commission as our liaison here to the Finance Committee. Welcome, and good luck drinking out of the fire hose to learn everything. Okay. With that, Michelle, would you please call the roll? Or Sally, whoever's going to call the roll.
Mr. Rusatz?
Here.
Ms. Ratcher?
Here.
Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Ramey?
Here.
Mr. Stahl?
Here.
Ms. Reeder?
Here.
Okay. First order of business is the nominations for the committee chair and vice chair. I would entertain a motion. Do we have to do that separately? Can we do it in one vote?
You can do it either way. If someone wants to nominate them together, they could.
Okay. I would accept a nomination for the chair and vice chair if there's anybody that wishes to do that.
I would like to nominate Al Nichols as chairman and Dan Moncher as vice chairman.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. So would you call the roll?
Okay. Mr. Rusatz?
I'm sorry.
Need a second.
Oh, sorry.
You need a second.
I will second that.
And then the roll.
I thought I heard a second, but
Mr. Rusatz?
Yeah.
Mr. Moncher?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols? Oh, does he abstain?
No, you don't have to.
Mr. Nichols? Yes. Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Mr. Stahl?
Yes.
Ms. Reeder?
Yes.
okay. First thing of business is you were sent out the minutes for December 5th, our last meeting. What would be your pleasure?
I'll move approval as dispensed.
Okay,
Second.
Made and seconded. Is that something we can do voice, or do we? I never know when we can just do a voice, yes or.
This is up to you, I mean, as the chairman, but yeah,
Okay,
you can
on
do a
that one,
voice.
I'll accept a voice
All in
we have a-
favor would,
motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now, we'll get down to just some real things. Because I got a notice of a email at 4:44 this morning, and I'm looking at that. You're just trying to, brag up because you're.
All right, so we're going to move on. The first order of business today is the 5-year capital plan. So that was sent out to you guys yesterday afternoon. I do have Megan Stuckey here. She's from the engineer's office. She did a great job compiling all the projects this year. We worked together to make sure everything fit budget-wise within the scope of available funds. What I gave you guys for printed copies at your seats are the 2026 project list, because that's really where we're at. 2026 is the list we really hone in on. It's going to be, I would say, pretty accurate. Going out 2027 through years 2031 are flexible. Things are going to pop up, new priorities, things are going to change. But we did send out the full list of 5-year projects that have been requested from the different departments. What I have on the screen here, let's try to make this a little bit bigger. And like I said, this is just the 2026 projects. Looking at all the projects total over the next 5 years, I think there was like $97 million worth of projects. So looking at just the 2026 projects, we have a little over $18 million in projects for the year that are planned. This sheet here breaks it down into different departments. So departments and, I guess, objectives. The first group here is the transportation that lists basically a lot of street resurfacing projects, roadway projects, and those projects there for transportation for just the year of 2026 is about $3.8 million. And like always, guys, if you guys have questions on any of these, feel free to stop me as we go through this. I'm happy to take any questions, and that's why Megan's here. She knows a lot more about each one of these projects individually if you have questions. The next group of projects is our sewers, storm, sanitary, and the combination sewers together. There's about $2.6 million worth of projects planned for 2026. Water projects, there's another $2.2 million planned for 2026. We have a group of miscellaneous projects And those are, anything from tree planting to shore protection, cemetery improvements, items like that are thrown into the miscellaneous category. That's almost $1 million worth of projects. It's $997,000 this year. Planning, they basically have public art, they have some planning projects that they're looking to do this year, and miscellaneous demolitions. At this point, there's nothing scheduled for demolitions. That's just a holding place for when blighted properties need to be demolished. The planning department has about $677,000 worth of capital projects planned for the year. The next group is our properties in public realms, so all city properties. Has about $1.7 million of projects in 2026 planned.
Mrs. Reader, I wanted to
Absolutely.
just make a quick point that SCADA, the one screen back. I remember when we did SCADA in 2006, was 20 years ago, and I remember going out to the Big Island Waterworks and out to the wastewater treatment plant and looking to see how this new SCADA was working. It had just been implemented, so it had been approved obviously prior to '06, so it was in '04 or '05, so I would assume that that technology is ready for an upgrade.
Yes, and they're constantly looking at different upgrades. They're doing smaller upgrades throughout the year, but you are correct. SCADA is the software that runs the water plant and the sewer plant. It ties into the different lift stations and the water towers around, so that makes everything flow properly, but yes.
It's a cool system, and it was cutting edge 20 years ago, but I doubt it is today.
Correct. It's time for some updates to the system.
Jill,
Yes.
in regards to what Mr. Stahl said, when we look at the improvements that we have to do at the sewer and water, some of that, matter of fact, a lot of it is mandated by the EPA.
Absolutely.
And we never know when that's going to hit.
Next
Okay?
year, this year.
So, it just,
This year.
yeah, but I think we need to make sure that the public out there knows that when we're spending some of this stuff, this is not pie in the sky that we're doing, but the EPA comes in and mandates an awful lot of things, and I don't want to cause you any more work than what you do, because I don't want you getting up any earlier. Is there a way that we can, I don't know if we can footnote it or do whatever that says this is EPA mandated, or everything is so intertwined that you really couldn't do that? I'm just thinking for the general public that looks at this and says, we're spending all of this money, and some of it, if we want to stay in business.
Absolutely. So to Commissioner Tucker's point, this EPA is coming back in. They're scheduled to come in this year to
Okay.
look at the sewer general plan again.
Yeah.
So there is a placeholder in the sewer line for general plan update for $250,000 this year. We're working with them because we just had the high rate treatment project finally coming online. So we're trying to work with the EPA to make sure we have enough data in place from the new, it was a $30 million project that we just did. So we want to see the true benefit of what that project does before we have those conversations with the EPA. But anything that is EPA mandated, I'm assuming is going to be over $50,000. And when that comes back to the commission, it's definitely noted that this was a mandate and a requirement from the EPA. It's not just, some item that we wanted to do. It's definitely noted at that time that it was a mandate from EPA.
It's just one of those that I hear out in the street, we're spending all of this money, and I try to explain to people that some of it we have no choice, and they don't want to hear that.
Sure, and I guess it's worth noting on the water projects, I mentioned we have about $2.2 million worth of water projects. That does not mean that all of those projects are going to be funded from the water funds that we collect. There's a lot of this, I believe it's like $700,000 that we're using out of the water fund. The rest of these water projects, we're looking at regular capital dollars to fund so that the ratepayers aren't seeing large increases. We're trying to spread that out from not just the water fund, but from other capital dollars that are available to use on projects for water infrastructure or improvements at the plants.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This just continued on different public properties that we had. There's basketball courts, golf course improvements, greenhouse, different parks and things like that. All those categories for properties in public realms, they're looking at $1.7 million of improvements for 2026. Transit, they have a small list this year. A lot of the projects that they do, we're only funding a small portion, whether it's 20% of capital items. So our portion of what the transit system is looking at for improvements in 2026 is only $150,000. Fleet, these are, whether they're police cruisers or something that's needed at the fire department, any kind of fleet or equipment that's needed, $1.7 million in request for 2026. And the last category on this for 2026 is the fire department, and they have $305,000 planned, and that's pretty much an annual expenditure for them. They use their EMS funds to buy equipment and items that are needed for the fire department, radios, their turnout gear, things like that. I do have the full 5-year forecast. I don't know if you guys want me to put it on the screen. There's a lot of, I see Mr. Stahl already shaking his head. There's a lot of data there, but it was sent out to you guys. And the plan is, we bring it to this committee first. We look for a recommendation for it to go to City Commission and recommended for approval. It's not planned to go to City Commission until March, so there is time, if things change or if someone sees something between now and then, Megan would be happy to take more input. Do you guys want to see the full 5-year on the screen? It's going to be a vision test, probably. I can throw it up if you want to look at it.
So do you want any of these that we approve and send it to the city commission for their approval?
That is correct. That's what we're looking for today.
You want to do that one at a time, or?
This is just one plan, so it only needs one motion.
Okay.
And this is the full plan. Like I said, there is just so much data here. This lists every project for every year from 2026 to 2031, and it lists the funding sources. So the columns at the top, like I said, unfortunately, it's just hard to see on one screen. I'll look into the top here. So these are just the same kind of categories that we went through, but again, it lists all the projects for the next 5 years, the total of the projects there, and then these headers, capital, the transit capital, community development block grant funds, which is CDBG, EMS funds, we have grants in there, we have the public art, we have issue 8 funds for parks, we have issue 8 monies for planning, issue 8 money for street, and issue 8 money for vehicles. We have loans in there. The MPO is the Metropolitan Planning Organization. Basically, those are grant funds that the engineering office goes after to help with street projects, parking and emissions tax, and then sewer and water funds. So those are all the funding sources. It's a lot of different information, but basically, we work through the project list and see where the best funding source is for all these projects to make sure what we're looking at is actually affordable and attainable.
Michelle and Mr. Nichols can correct me if I'm wrong. Don't we look at the forecast for this year, hone in on 26, look at this as a work in progress for the rest of the years?
It's a static budget. It's not.
It's not firm. It's not.
It's
locked in
based
stone.
on needs and what engineers can come up with and change.
Correct. That's exactly correct. We're really honed in on 2026. Things are going to pop up. Things are going to change for the next year. We'll be back next year with a capital plan. So what you see today in 2027, I'm sure is going to change next year when we bring it back in front of you guys.
Mr. Nichols, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to City Commission the 5-year capital project plan as presented. And if any changes are needed, we can address those at our next meeting in March prior to their approval.
And I have a second to that.
I'll second.
Second.
But we got to
Probably
redo
ought
it.
to-
If I may, we don't have a meeting scheduled for March, but
Oh,
if
no.
we need to, we could schedule something.
Okay. So I'll amend the
Roll
motion
call that,
appropriately.
I suppose.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Rusatz?
Yes.
Ms. Bonner?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Mr. Stahl?
Yes.
Ms. Reader?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. If I may, you want me to just keep rolling here? Next item on the agenda?
You've got the podium.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is just an update on the rec center financing. So City Commission, the first meeting in February 9th, they did approve to go out for public sale for the issuance of debt for the rec center. So it's $9 million worth of debt that we're looking to go out to public sale. As a reminder, the whole project for the rec center was $10.3 million. So we're using some cash initially. So we're financing the $9 million. We are working with Moody's, scheduling a call with Moody's, and then we're going to get the official statement out. We'll get the debt issued. At this point, we're hoping to have it wrapped up before the end of next month. We're looking at hopefully a 4% interest rate. So with the $9 million that we're looking to finance, we are hopeful that the annual debt service will be right at the $700,000 number. That $700,000 is what we had planned, that we put aside from emissions tax. When we increased the emissions tax, we said $700,000 was going to be the number that we set aside for 20 years to pay for this rec center. So once the final numbers come in, we have the final interest rate. I will keep you guys apprised of what's going on, but that is great news, because we always thought, it was going to be hard to get it done, but when they came in with the bid for the rec center from Janata and Herner, we were happily surprised. So I'll keep you updated as the rec center sale for the debt is finalized next month.
Well, hopefully, rates drop between now and then.
Correct. Yep. All right, if no one has any questions on the rec center, I'm going to move and we'll do the year-end December 2025 financials. It seems like forever ago, but
Do we need to do any kind of approval on the recreation center? I didn't think so, but
It's already in motion.
yep.
I'm sorry.
It's already in motion.
Yes.
So December 2025 financials on the screen here. We look at the revenue sources first. In blue is the income tax, and this again is through December of 2025, so we're looking at the whole year of 2025. In blue is the income tax. You'll see that we were down in income tax. We're down about $678,000. We are down, it's in business returns. It's something obviously we're going to continue to monitor, and when we look at the January financials, unfortunately, we're going to see that income tax dollars are still down, moving over into the new year. So at the end of the year, we were down in income tax. We did see a slight increase in the gray area there. That's admissions tax, about a $91,000 increase in 2025 compared to 2024. On the orange reflects the lodging tax that was collected for the year, and we saw a slight increase in lodging tax for the year. It was about $31,000 over the 2024 receipts. This shows the total revenue that was collected in 2025. So $35.5 million, similar to where we were in 2024, down about $200,000, but we collected more in 2025 than we did in 2023. So nothing alarming. We're happy to have $35 million in revenue. You can see during COVID in 2020, we had $18 million. So definitely thankful to have that $35 million.
Let's pray for good weather.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at expenditures for the general fund for last year, the blue line there at the top is the administrative support. And just a reminder, that support also includes all the transfers that we do throughout the year from the general fund to other funds. It's orange and blue line there that kind of run neck and neck. Those are our police department and our fire department totals for the year, around $6 million each. The gray line there is our horticulture and public realm, and then the yellow line there is the Muni Court. The Muni Court for the year, they were about $1.1 million in expenditures, but they do have revenue that offsets what they're expending for the year. This slide here shows the expenditures by category. It's broken down to wages, contractual services, supplies and materials, and transfers. The yellow line in transfers there at the top. You can see for 2025, we were about $14.3 million. Again, those are the transfers that come into the general fund, and they get transferred. Most of them go to the capital capital fund for projects, and those are promises made for issue 8 or part of the Cedar Point Partnership. When we increase the emissions tax, those dollars gets transferred over to other funds. The blue line there is kind of a steady incline. Those are wages and fringe benefits. We saw increases to wages and fringe benefits according to contractual agreements this year. And that was obviously 2025, and we'll see that again in 2026. But for the year in 2025, we had about $16.3 million in wages and fringe benefits. Contractual services, the orange line there, just over $4 million in services that were contracted out for the year. And supplies and materials, that was about $800,000 spent in 2025. This slide here shows the historical cash balance in the general fund at year end. And there's additional benchmarks that we put on here at year end because this is a good time to review it for the year because the cash balance fluctuates a lot during the year. March and April are typically our bottom out months for cash balances because obviously being a tourism-driven city, highly driven by tourism, that happens in the summer months. So we still have expenditures going on the first quarter of the year and not as much revenue coming in. This shows in yellow there at the top, that's the amount of annual expenditures. So again, going back to 2014, we were about $16 million in annual expenditures. We've more than doubled that over the years. So that's why we've seen the increase in cash balance over that same time period. The target balance is to have about 15 to 20% of our annual expenses left in the cash balance at the end of the year. So at the end of 2025, the cash balance in the general fund was $6,586,423 to be exact. So well within targets where we wanted to be. As always, if we see a change in revenue or an increase in expenditures, we're going to adjust. We're going to live within our means that we have, and that's why our cash balance at the end of the year still
It's a dollar amount
remains.
that the bonding companies like to see, that we have that ending reserve fund that we can go into the next year. So that has saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest costs.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference when we get rated for Moody's. Honestly, they like to see it higher, but, even at 20%, you don't even have 3 months of reserves. So if something catastrophic happens, we have to react pretty quickly. And we've done that, unfortunately, before when COVID came. So it was something that you just monitor, make sure you live within your means. If there's something going on, we have to adjust. Here's the number of full-time employees at the end of 2025, and this also gives you full-time employees at the end of 2024, just to compare. The two highest employee counts are going to be police and fire. Police ended the year with 52 officers, and fire had 51 firefighters. So they both increased a little bit over 2024. The other two larger departments for employee counts is Big Island and the sewer plant. So our water plant and our sewer plant each have about 15 employees. And then Muni Court would be the next highest employee count for departments. They have 10 employees.
Mr. Orzak's not here, but my question is always with police and fire, sometimes you can't get the applications, but do you know, are we pretty well manned up?
Yep, we're in a good spot. So fire department's fully staffed, and the police department only has one vacancy.
Good.
So that's phenomenal. I mean,
Good.
They've been good.
they're very happy with those numbers right now. That's all I have for 2025. Anybody have any questions for 2025 financials?
No. We probably ought to approve the financials. So could I have a motion to approve the 25 information?
Motion to approve 2025 financial.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
second.
Is that a made and a seconded?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, keep going. You've got the floor.
And slow me down, guys, if you guys have questions, please. All right, so we'll move on to 2026 financials. Same format as what we looked at for the full year of 2025. General fund revenue here, income taxes in blue. We're fluctuating again in income tax. I already mentioned that we're still down in income tax in 2026. In January, it was $538,000 that we were down compared to January of 2025. We're still seeing that decline in business returns. I'm hopeful it's a timing issue, and we're looking to have some returns filed here soon.
Yeah, is it a lack of returns being filed? Is that what it is, or just less money coming in on the returns?
Combination.
Okay.
So there's less revenue coming in per return filed, and also there's some outstanding extensions still on 2025 returns.
Got it.
And even looking into February, obviously, we still have another week in February, but I can tell you, for February, we're still down $530,000 in income tax compared to February last year. So it's not corrected itself yet. So I'm hopeful, things get filed next month in March. The gray line here is the admissions tax. So you'll see we're seeing a small decline in admissions tax so far this year. As a reminder, anything that people are admitted to in December, they have to send that revenue to us in January. So this slide is showing whatever revenue businesses collected in December of 2025, we receive it in January. So it's a small decline compared to where we were in January of 2025. Lodging tax is on there. That's the orange line. I'm going to tell you the lodging tax, pretty similar to where we were same time last year. There's a small increase of $620. Looking at total revenue, this slide doesn't look so nice. Total revenue for 2026, $1.4 million. Again, last year we were just over $2 million, $600,000 difference, and it's pretty much all made up in income tax and admissions tax at this point. But it's early. This is only 1 month. We're cautious, but we're aware that there's possibly an issue going on with income tax receipts. General fund expenses for January, top line there is administrative support, includes the transfer amounts made for the month. The blue and orange lines there are police and fire department again running real similar in their amount of expenditures for the month. Gray line is horticulture and public realm, and the yellow line at the bottom is municipal court. If you look at the general fund expenditures by category, wages and fringe benefits, blue line at the top, again, small increase as we're contractually obligated for the raise increases in 2026. Transfers is shown there in yellow. We had about $723,000 worth of transfers in 2025, which is slightly more than we received in slightly more than what we did in 2024. 2025, there was quite a few transfers that were done. And obviously, the transfers are done dependent on the revenue that comes in, too. So we had $600,000 more last year, so you're going to see more transfers in that month. It just kind of is the way it's done throughout the year. Contractual services is shown there in orange. $255,000 was spent in January. Supplies and materials, $41,000 was spent in January of 2026. Here's the expenditures for just the 1 month for January. Again, we kind of covered this. The expenditures are $2.3 million in 2026. Last year, $2.6 million. A difference would be the transfers that were done in January of this year. They were less than compared to last year. And here is the historical cash balance for January. At the end of January 2026, you'll see we were at $5,686,000. A little bit down compared to where we were previous years in January. We're seeing a decline in revenue, so our cash balance is down slightly. Our expenditures for the year, $33.7 million were budgeted for the year. So when you're looking at the target balance of 15% or 20% of that number, target balance in our general fund cash balance is $5.1 to $6.7 million as we go throughout the year. And the last slide is just the number of full-time employees. So we ended the year at 248 employees. At the end of January, we had 250 employees. The difference is we picked up 2 new hires in our sewer plant in January.
When do we have that extra payroll? I know you've told me, but help my memory.
I think it's 2031 off the top of my head. We've got some
Oh,
years
it's
yet.
quite a while, okay.
Yep, so the payroll stabilization balance is $950,000 is what we have. So that takes care of the additional pay that we'll have coming up. That also takes care of any retirements that we have, any pending payouts for retirements when folks leave. So we do know we have a lot of folks that are eligible to retire, big payouts coming in 2027.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on the January financials?
Any questions from anybody in the committee? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the,
Hold on a quick sec. When is our next meeting, Mr. Chairman?
if this is correct down here, June 12th.
So we're going to have, I'm hoping, Michelle, that, Mr. Chairman, you'll keep us up to date between now and the next meeting, if we're falling short of that income. If we're short in January in training, or looks like we're going down that same line in February.
Yep.
I don't think we want to look at it in June. I would think we want to keep our eyes on that. If there is an issue, hopefully it's just a timing issue and it works itself out.
That's the one thing we have to be careful of, okay, is because there is timing, because it's a cash basis, okay? And Mr. Tomasulo's not here because he always answers my questions, okay? But when they pay and when they don't pay, okay, timing-wise.
Well, it will turn out in the wash, or it should, hopefully.
So I don't know when,
Historically, I'm just looking back in the historical stuff that scrolled through. Historically, if you look at it historically, it's deviation from the norm, from historical. That's what concerns me.
Me too.
well, if you read the annual report that was presented at 7 o'clock in the morning yesterday,
I did not.
I
You did.
yes, I did. Yes, I actually listened to the call.
So just to answer Mr. Stahl's question, absolutely. We'll definitely be looking at the income tax figures. I'm already looking, in March 2nd is the next time we'll get a distribution from Rita, but I can see what that distribution is before it comes our way. I'm watching it, I'm monitoring it monthly. If, there's any changes that need to be
I
made.
can always call an extra meeting, is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. But definitely, as I send the monthly reports, I'll keep you, apprised of what's going on.
Good job, Mr.
Okay.
I will move to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Okay, now we're down to old business. Anybody have any old business? I don't know if I'd call this old business, and I can't remember when you got your certificate, which everybody congratulated you and your staff on, and I can't remember if we've done it publicly here in this meeting. But again, I've been around a while, and people may complain about how we spend our money, but I can guarantee them that we spend it as judiciously as possible. And that just shows you how good your department and all your people in that department work. That's quite a distinction as many times as we've had it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it is a team. It's a team effort. There's no way that, one person gets this all done. There's a lot going on a regular basis, as you can see from a capital plan alone. We've got a lot of things going on. So, yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, again, congratulations to you and your team. So, anybody else have any old business? Okay. And I don't see anybody out there Do they text them in or mail them in anymore, whatever? Okay, so if not, there's nothing for the public, I would ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're done.